They are wise people. And wise people learn from the mistakes of others. And so they are happy. They are smart people. That is the second category of people. Smart people learn from their mistakes. And they are sad. The third category of people are those who neither learn from their mistakes or the mistakes of others. And they are fools. When you embark on a project, it is very important that you take an analysis of your progress. You analyze your progress and then you ask yourself the question, is it worth me continuing this project or should I stop? We have been fighting for over 7 years today. We live in the 21st century. We have technology. There are different strategies that we could deploy to gain victory. But yet, in 7 years, we have been fighting. And yet, no victory. I understand why. When you start on a foundation full of lies, it is hard for you to progress. It is hard for you to succeed. And that is why you keep failing. And I just want to say this to all the Ambazonian leaders and all the Ambazonian activists. I have a strategy that could help us gain this independence in less than 1 year. But I will not embark on this kind of project because it is full of lies. And looking at the way the world is advancing, secession, division, disunity does not align with this trend of thought as to where the world is going. Do you understand what I'm saying? It is possible for us to achieve that independence. I know exactly what to do. I know exactly what to say. And I know how to go about it to help you guys gain independence. But we cannot embark on this kind of project because it's not going to help us. Secondly, with the kind of leadership that we have, we are going to struggle if we embark on cessation and finally achieve our goals. Is that making sense? I want to take us memory lane so that we have a comprehensive view of our history. We all have probably heard about the Resolution 1608, and I'll bring that in context so that we can understand what it is all about. On the 11th of February, 1961, a plebiscite was conducted in the southern Cameroon. And this plebiscite was to decide the fate of our people. Plebiscite was like a vote, right? Let's vote to see if you guys want to join Nigeria or you want to join French-speaking Cameroonians. That plebiscite turned out that most of us wanted to join French-speaking Cameroonians, the southern Cameroonians. We joined French-speaking Cameroonians. So that is the objective of that plebiscite. So when you go out to march on the 11th of February, you are celebrating that day that we agreed to join French-speaking Cameroonians. That is your history. Now, when the UN realized that the plebiscite was in favor of us joining French-speaking Cameroonians, they said, you guys have to prepare yourself now from this February 11th right up to October 1st to decide how you will live in this union. When people talk about the Resolution 1608, the Resolution 1608 is a document that stipulates this plebiscite. It's a document that stipulates on how we were supposed to conduct conversations and discuss the terms of us living together with French-speaking Cameroonians. So we were given ample time, approximately 7 months, from 11th of February right up to October 1st, for us to decide on how this union was going to look like. So one thing I want you to pay attention to right now is that it was not a question anymore whether we have decided to join French-speaking Cameroonians. We had accepted. The reason why I bring clarity to this is to help our people who think they can rewrite history, who think we have to go back there and start saying, oh, we already had our independence, we were a trust territory. Don't confuse the British system of indirect rule by saying you guys had independence. We did not have independence. We were a trust territory. But the strategy that the British used was called indirect rule. So they led through our chiefs, through our leaders. That is what indirect rule is. On the other side, the French people were led through direct rule, assimilation. That is a system that France used. Regardless, prior to us joining, French-speaking Cameroonians already had their independence, and so they were deemed fit to lead themselves. On the flip side, the British said we were not fit to lead ourselves, in spite of the fact that we had this federal system. You know that we were an integral part of Nigeria prior to having our independence on October 1st, 1961. In May of 1961, there was a tripartite conference that was conducted in Boya. And this tripartite conference was designed for the conversations, the exchange of notes, deliberation on how we will live together. Foncha, leading the KNDP party, and other dignitaries from the Northwest and the Southwest were present at this tripartite conference in Boya. Take note of this, because there are a series of conferences that was held leading to October 1st. But when they talk about our independence, they don't talk about the side of the story. And it's very, very important, because what has been highlighted the most is the Fumban Constitutional Conference on the 12th of July, 1961. But the Fumban Constitutional Conference was a proposed constitutional conference. It was a conference where they came to submit or maybe deliberate upon their proposed constitutions. Does that make sense? So the Fumban Constitutional Conference of 12th of July was a conference designed for the conversation on the proposed constitutions. So stay with me. We are going somewhere. Now, the first tripartite conference was conducted in May. After that, there was a tripartite conference in Yaoundé, a bilateral conference that was held in Yaoundé. During that bilateral conference in Yaoundé, President Amadou Ahidjo presented to Foncha their proposed constitution. Some of us said, oh, we came together as two equal states. Yes, we are equal as human beings, but we cannot say we were equal in terms of leadership, because they could lead themselves, we could not. They were deemed qualified to lead themselves, and that is why they had their independence on the 1st of January, 1960, and we did not. So put all of that into context. We are equal. It's just like you go to school, you study finance, maybe have a master's degree in finance, you come out, you start working as a banker, you work as a banker for say 10 years. And then we have another young individual who just enrolled in an institution to study finance. They will never compare their level of experience with yours after having a master's degree in finance with 10 years of experience. It would be an insult to say you guys are equal. You're equal as human beings, but when it comes to leadership, you're not. And I just want to stop right here and say, It is an issue of justice that we are raising today. We want justice. We want that the right thing should be done. We want to experience the finest things of life. We want to govern our territory. That is what it's all about. But all the strategies that we are using will not work. And I know it will not work. For a fact, it will not. Maybe our leaders think they are doing something new. You're not doing anything new. What you're doing is what has been happening in the past. Since from the time of Jua right down to the year 2000 or 1999, December of 1999, when this dude went into a radio station in Boya and blew an alarm and said, oh, we have independence. I mean, it's the same thing. The only thing which is different is that you are in a foreign nation today and you have some boys down on the ground with 10 guns fighting. That is the only difference, but it's the same strategy. You guys haven't changed strategy. You haven't changed your strategies. I mean, like 60 something years ago, you used to using the same strategy and it will not work. And that is why we are carving a new path. We will not go through this direction. We don't want to sit back, fold our arms, and then afterwards we begin to cry and start singing the same songs like you guys. That is why we are taking the bull by the horn right now. And it's an issue of justice. And I want to ask you guys a question. If you borrow a knife from your friend, and then all of a sudden your friend goes mad, that is, they run crazy, and then your friend say, hey, give me back my knife. Are you going to give that friend that knife, knowing that they are crazy? And if they get that knife, they could injure you. You will say, no, hey, I won't give you the knife. Now, you are not being just, right? Because you are not giving them the knife that you borrowed. But if you look at it contextually, you say, based on the state of reasoning that my friend is in right now, it is not advisable for me to return that knife, because if they get hold of that knife, they can kill me. Britain had dominion over our territory. Now, when it was time for them to leave, they realized that we were not qualified to lead ourselves. And so allowing us to lead ourselves will be detrimental for us. And that is why they say you either gain independence by joining Nigeria or joining the Republic of Cameroon. Mind you, there were territories with smaller population that could achieve independence, and they got their independence just around Africa, but they did not give us that option. After we gain independence, instead of us saying, oh, why did they say this and what can we do to improve our leadership skills so that we can be competent to lead ourselves, we've never worked on that. Today, we are still seeing that same degree of incompetence when it comes to leadership. And it's a fact. These leaders have not been able to mobilize themselves and talk as one. They've found a way to celebrate this kind of diversity and division in leadership so that they can keep things going. But this is not how you win in any movement. This is not how you win in a business, in anything that you do. This kind of divisiveness won't help. So there was a tripartite conference in Boya in May, and there was a tripartite conference in Yaoundé. During that tripartite conference in Yaoundé, President Amadou Ahidjo gave a proposed constitution to Fonja. Fonja came back and did not present that proposed constitution to the rest of the dignitaries of the Northwest. The Southern Cameroon House of Assembly did not see it. The Southern Cameroon House of Chiefs did not see it. Members of opposition parties did not see it. He kept it to himself. There was another tripartite conference in June held in Boya. These are 3 meetings right now. The first tripartite conference in Boya in May, another tripartite conference in that same month in Yaoundé. In June, there was a tripartite conference in Boya. after that tripartite conference in Boya, mind you, the tripartite conference in Boya, there was British authorities there. The colonial office was present. These individuals deliberated. These conferences was all about deliberation towards that independence in October 1st, 1961. Do you guys understand? After the tripartite conference in Boya, there was the All Bamenda Conference, or the Bamenda All Party Conference in June, around June 28. There was the Bamenda All Party Conference. Dignitaries within the Northwest came together, and the objective of that Bamenda All Party Conference was to prepare the people of Southern Cameroon for the Fumban Constitutional Conference, which was supposed to take place on the 12th of July. At that Bamenda All Party Conference, Foncha did not present that proposed constitution. I want you to understand failed leadership. Failed leadership on our part. Because when our leaders are talking about why we find ourselves where we find ourselves today, they blame the French. They blame the French for everything, and I've not heard them taking responsibility for anything. Imagine that you were given 7 months and they said, oh, the UN or the British did not give us ample time to prepare ourselves to get into this union, and so they are to be blamed. No, people don't have forever. You were given approximately 7 months or 6 months to prepare yourself getting into this union. Our leader, Foncha, did not present the proposed constitution given to him by Amadou Ahidjo. That is our history, guys. Whatever they are selling you, if you want to buy it, good luck with that. This is our history. History has no emotion. You might not like the way it went, but you got to observe it. And this is how we teach history, so that you learn. The next time, what are you learning from this? That if we have an event such as this, if we are about to make a very critical decision that has to do with the destiny of our people, we have to set aside our differences. Even if you did not like Muna or you do not like members of the other political parties, regarding this decision, they got to be involved. Everybody has to be involved. The Southern Cameroon House of Representatives has to be involved. The Southern Cameroon House of Chiefs have to be involved. Everyone should look at this constitution. Let's ensure that what we are getting into, we know the terms and the conditions of that contract. This is what you should learn and apply in your life. It could be in business. If you are engaging in business, you want to go into a partnership with somebody, you should be able to have terms and conditions that govern that relationship. And make sure that you take time and read it, get a lawyer involved, so that you know exactly what it is you're getting into. This is what should be learned. This is how you use history. You don't go back and try to correct the mistakes of 1960 or 1961. Rather, you extract knowledge so that you can prepare better, so that you can fix future problems or approach a relationship like the one we got into better. That is how we should be able to understand things of the past or teach history. Not saying, oh, you were cheated, so go back and fix it. That is not how we learn from history. You see what I'm saying? So, the Bamenda All Party Conference took place in June. In July, there was the Fumban Constitutional Conference on the 12th of July 1961. At that conference, most of the dignitaries from the Northwest and Southwest were surprised when they were presented the proposed constitution. It was the very first time they are seeing that constitution. Is it the fault of Amadou Ahidjo, my friends? No. And that is why if we will build a better Northwest and Southwest, build a better Southern Cameroons, we got to be honest with this fact. We got to be honest with our history. We cannot build on lies. That is why we, the young people, are rising up today and saying, this is the mistake. We will not sit back and watch our leaders put us in another trap, and after they are dead and gone, we have to be left behind to deal with this. So after the Fumban Constitutional Conference on the 12th of July, there was another tripartite conference, August 2nd to August 7th in Yaoundé. That tripartite conference in Yaoundé in August is very crucial, because it was at that conference that they finally presented to Fonja the final constitution. Amadou Ahidjo said to the British authority that they have been able to come to an agreement. And the British authorities thanked him for having solved that problem. And Augustin Joa is a very prominent figure in this entire unification movement, because he raised some questions as to some of the clauses of this constitution. And the British authorities reminded our people that whatever Ahidjo declares is going to stand, and that is exactly how our territory will be governed. No one challenged him. And mind you, our leader, Foncha, was present, representing the KNDP party. And whatever he said or finally agreed to governs us and led us into that union and defined the terms as to how we will live in that union. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's a very important figure. And that is why when we hear of our leaders getting into an agreement, it could be with Biafra or whatever, it is important that you question their decisions so that we seek clarity as to what they are doing, so that we don't get into another trap. We don't get entangled into another trap. At this point, I want to remind us again that what our French-speaking brothers learned from France is the assimilation system, while what we learned from Britain is the indirect role system, or the indirect role, and on the other side, direct role. This federal structure that we learned from Nigeria, they are not familiar with that. And that is why you see the entire idea has been to unite the nation, because the French system is let's come together. Because most of us have never taken the time to study the French culture, of which I've done extensively. Studied France and then study French countries in Africa, their behavior, because what actually happened in France, there is some version of it that our people actually inhabit that behavior or inhabit that way of life. And you got to study that so that you learn how to deal with your brothers. They understand that we got to come together, we are one as a community and all of that. That's how they understand it. We might have looked at it as a way to probably destroy our culture or destroy the common law system or destroy our educational system. The best way they understand to lead is that everybody comes together. I don't think there's any malicious intention. But because we come from this British role, we believe. And that is why I'm understanding both parties, because that is how you see a problem objectively. To make sense of this, you got to detach yourself from it. Don't come into this like I'm a Cameroonian. No, come out of the box and then reason the problem. They had a different system. Coming from France, we had a different system coming from Britain. And the conflict of these systems is what has led us to misunderstand each other today. And that's why I say, oh, they did not stick to the proposed constitution. No, a proposed constitution is not a constitution. And also there was exchange of notes. And this is something that they don't talk about. In international law, exchange of notes is considered a contract. There was exchange of notes. Like these meetings, these tripartite conferences you hear about, there was exchange of notes. For instance, if I'm texting you right now and you text me back on WhatsApp, that can be a contract in the court of law. In international law, that is a contract. If I text you and I say, oh, do we have an appointment? You said, yes, we have an appointment. That is a contract in the court of law. Did you know that? Some of you probably did not. And this is what you should learn and understand our history. There was exchange of notes. There was exchange of constitutional proposals. And Amadu Ahijo understood that Foncha went and had a conversation with his people and was okay with the final draft of that constitution. Because when he was presenting the final draft, there was no opposition. Because if you discuss this constitution with your people, they would have said, oh, we don't like this point. Oh, we should remove this point. Oh, we should amend this point. Objections like that would have come up. But because your people did not involve themselves in the process, how can they object? And at the end of the day, whatever they end up with, if he never presented that document to his people, and then whatever Amadu Ahijo came up with and he stayed quiet, it indicates that he accepted the terms of that union. You see the problem is on us. You cannot turn around and say, oh, it's their fault. When you're doing politics, guys, you come into politics, you present a proposition that will be of the best interest of your people. That is what politics is all about. And if I present some points that is at the best interest or is of the best interest of my people and no one opposes, at the end of the day, guess what? What I thought about stands. And that is exactly. So when we blame Amadu Ahijo saying, oh, he had the responsibility to look after the interests of French-speaking Cameroonians. Foncha had the responsibility to look after the interests of Southern Cameroonians, of which he did not. Failed leadership. And this further confirms why the British authorities did not think we were fit to lead ourselves. Do you guys understand? Because some of us think, oh, today is all about getting money, it's all about making it. This is time for us to start understanding that we have to raise leaders. It will be a cooperative effort. We have to raise good leaders. Leaders that can negotiate on our behalf. Leaders that can think critically. That will not just follow the herd, but they can step out of the box. And that is why I'm challenging us on this platform, so that we raise independent thinkers. People who can reason for themselves. Not just follow the herd, not just hear about this idea, oh, you're running after it. Think for yourself. When we have people that can think critically, they will arrive at a position where it will be for the interest of our people. But if everyone is following the herd, we will just fall inside the grave together. And that is why I'm waking us up. Let's think. Let's reason. Let's look at this document and ask ourselves the question, where did we go wrong? Because the burden of proof is on the Ambazonian leaders, and they got to dispel every doubt. They got to dispel every doubt. Beyond any reasonable doubt, they have to dispel any confusion. Because the burden of proof is on them. They've written all sorts of documents. They've rewritten the history. And so the burden of proof is on them. They are the plaintiffs. They are the plaintiffs. They are the victims. And the defendant on the flip side has not said anything. And how can we take a case to court and we have judgment or we rule over that case if the defendant doesn't present their own part of the story? All of these are archives that you can research, go back there to Boya or in Cameroon and actually get, there are documents that back up what I'm saying. There are documents to prove what I'm saying here. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Go read it for yourself. Go dig into those archives and read those documents. Cameroonians, know your history. And I want to let you guys know, in September, everyone was cool with what had happened. Because many people did not take the time to look into that proposed constitution. October 1st, the British people said, oh, we're done. And they walked away. In February 1962, the British authorities sent a letter to the UN saying, we are done. We did a good job and we are done and we are off that territory. And I just want to let you guys know that there was ample time for us to critique this proposed constitution. Because of bad leadership, we did not. So when you oppose the way things are going today, I understand. But you got to face your reality. And I would like to say, when you find yourself in a situation like the one we find ourselves in, the worst mistake you can make is try to go back to the past to rewrite history. Go back to the past to pick up the resolution 1608 and try to amend it. You see, no nation on earth wants to deal with that. You were given the time from February 11th right up to October 1st to make that decision. People don't have forever. And that is why maybe we find it okay coming late for events today. And we think it's okay for you to come late. No. There's a start time and there's an end time. We should always put that in our mind. That is why you see, you go to these white folks, they don't got to deal with things this way. They're like, okay, we have it this time. This was a time frame. You were given a threshold from this time to this time. Make a decision, and you did not. We got to accept responsibility. Do you understand what I'm saying? Trying to rewrite history is painful. It will crush you. You waste your time on earth. You will lie. You will try to take past historical events where you were not present and try to make sense of it in this dispensation. When Nelson Mandela was locked up for 27 years, then he came out of prison. Imagine the apartheid situation in South Africa. Imagine how people were crushed. Black people felt like they were humiliated in South Africa. Imagine Nelson Mandela being locked up for 27 years in prison. Coming out of prison, he became the president of South Africa. If it is up to the thinking of our leaders today, the Ambazonian leaders, they were like, oh, let's crush the enemy. Let's make sure that they feel the pain as well. Let's make sure that we deal with each and every one of them. That would have been their inclination. But Nelson Mandela chose white folks, put them on his cabinet, and said, let's build this nation. That is a stoic approach to conflict resolution. Let us build this nation. Dwelling on the past will not help us. That approach, that specific approach, elevated Nelson Mandela to become a global leader, a human rights activist, celebrated globally, not just for being the president of South Africa, but how he approached this situation after being in prison for 27 years. Ambazonian leaders, how many of you have been in prison for 27 years? Right up to 2016, how many of you have experienced the kind of mass killing that is happening in other nations, or blacks being treated a certain way in other nations? How many of you have experienced that? And I want to let our people understand that in 1967, when Joa was replaced as the prime minister, and you know the reasons why he was replaced, but he was not happy with everything that was going on in the nation. And I think this idea of secession has been around forever, because some people think it started in 2016 now. You've obviously heard about Gordon Tinka coming back from Europe and in 1964. And in 1984, when the nation changed from the United Republic of Cameroon to the Republic of Cameroon, he said, oh, I got it. Because they've always been looking for ways to get out of this union. And he's like, I'm going to catch in on this. I'm like, why didn't we study the French system to understand their leadership style, to understand their motivation, to understand their culture? Because that will help us live together as one. That is why in marriage, Sometimes when you guys meet, you are talking about love, you get engaged, you want to be together. But when you actually move in, it is important to study your partner's character, their history, their culture, their background, because that will help you to understand them better so that you guys can live in a union that is fruitful, right? We've never taken that time, but we are doing that now. I've taken that time to study the French culture, going way back to the 14th century, understanding the evolution of French culture, understanding the experiences that our French brothers have gone through and why they are the way they are and why they speak the way they do and why their culture is the way it is. The African culture mixed with the French culture, the flavor that it has produced. And I just want to let you know this is what we would have done, because if that was the case, we will not be interpreting their actions. That's why some of them are dumbfounded. Some of them don't even talk about this. They are shocked because this is their lifestyle. They want everything to be one. That is their culture. There is no bias intention. We've always interpreted it that way because our federal structure and indirect role that we adopted from Britain is what we know. And anyone that is opposing that, we see it as an existential threat. And that is why I'm helping the young people today to understand better that this is how you learn history. This is how, when you come into a union like this, your wife or your husband, this is how you study the people that you're living with so that you can interpret their actions. Not thinking that they had some intentions. Because, I mean, these guys never said, oh, they wanted to ensure that we joined them. No, we were given the option and we chose. They were not fighting that we come join them. They did not have any intention trying to poke into, because if it's up to Britain, Britain wanted us to join Nigeria. Many people don't know about that, but Britain's intention was that we join Nigeria. But because of the Igbophobia, we said, like, oh, no, we're not going to join Nigeria. These people treated us bad. I mean, you touch a good, you come to the marketplace, you touch a product, they say you have to buy it. You touch a piece of wrapper, they say you have to buy it. That is the experience we had with Nigerians. And we're like, no, we're not going to join Nigeria. And these are motivating factors as to why we chose our French-speaking brothers. Is that making sense? This is our history, guys. So, 20th of May, 1972. That is, there was an election conducted. The name of the nation was changed from the Federal Republic of Cameroon to the United Republic of Cameroon. So when you go out to march on the 20th of May, you're saying that we reunited. We came back together as one, like we were under Germans. Other territories around us were competent and could lead themselves, and so they had their separate independence. But we came together as one, and the goal was to intensify that union. You understand that when you and your wife really become one, that union is strong and you guys can overcome every obstacle. You guys can overcome every challenge when you guys are united. But if you guys have this fragmented system, and I think this is what our people would have done, engage with the French, get into their system, understand what they are all about, so that you can be able to articulate your perspective on this whole federal concept, because it's a great idea. The federal idea is not a bad idea, because the federal idea brings about competition, and that competition helps us develop. But there is a way to present that. It's not like we interpret their actions to be something that is like they're trying to impose their systems on us. And I'm just saying we would have engaged more in a friendly way to explain our position. And this would have helped us to be in a better position to introduce the federalism. It's not about just us. We want the whole nation to be fine. I don't think that we want our French-speaking Cameroonians or our French-speaking brothers to be broke and backward. We don't want that. And I don't think that they want us to be broke and backwards as well. We are in a union. We should be working for the interests of everybody. At the end of the day, everybody should be fine. That is the goal. And when I'm looking at this situation, I'm looking at how can our people be fine and how can our French-speaking brothers be fine? How can we together be fine? The goal is not that somebody should be in pain and you should be happy. The goal is not just that we should manage our resources. The goal is that the entire nation should thrive. But when you guys are watching the soccer game right now, I mean, when Cameroon wins, you guys are excited. You guys are excited because why? It is your nation. It is for the interest of everyone. When Francis Ngannou was knocking out these guys in Europe, you guys were all excited because you could see your own brother doing it. It was not about Francophone, Anglophone. It was a Cameroonian doing this for the nation. And that is why I implore all of you guys, young people, rise up. Because you being quiet, you're not helping. But taking action collectively, we will get somewhere. Together, we will get somewhere. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some of you think, oh, maybe when you turn 50 or 60, that's the time to talk. No, this is the time. You got the energy right now, and your voice needs to be heard. Or else you'll be old and be bitter as well. You watched the last game we had against Gambia. You realize that the final goal was scored by a defender. According to the rules of that game, he was supposed to be in the back. But he had to leave to come score that goal. And I'm saying some of you have been designed and conditioned to think you are supposed to be in the back. But I want to let you know this is the time. If you see the opportunity, get right there and initiate change. And that is exactly what he did. We qualified for the next round because of a defendant who said, I'm not designed to be stuck here. I'm not designed to be in one corner. I was designed to win. I can initiate change. I will not see my nation going down. I will not see us losing this game. He left his position, ran right there and hit that ball into the pole, and everything changed for our nation. And today I'm employing the youth. This is your time to not just sit back and watch what is happening. You got to leave that comfort zone, get right there and knock exactly what is going wrong and make sure that we get victory. It is a cooperative effort. You cannot sit back and hope to be 60 or 50 before you have your voices heard. That is my point. That is why this platform is designed for Cameroonians below the age of 40. This is your time to initiate change. So I've helped you understand. So October 1st is the day we got independence by joining the Federal Republic or the Republic of Cameroon. October 1st is the day we gain independence by joining the Republic of Cameroon. When you go out to march on the 11th of February, that is the day where we agreed to join the Republic of Cameroon. 20th May is the day our nation changed from a federal system to a unitary system. Or in 1984 is the year where the nation changed from the United Republic of Cameroon to the Republic of Cameroon. One nation. That is our evolution. Now, some people have talked about the numerous factories and companies that was closed in the English-speaking Cameroons, and I just want to let you guys know the hostility towards the government has been around forever. In December of 1999, around the 30th to the 31st of December 1999, an Anglophone ran into a radio station in Boya and said, we declare independence. Held everybody hostage at the radio station and said, we declare independence. Do you see our actions? If you have people acting and thinking this way within a country, won't you limit their power, limit their economic power, limit how far they can go within that nation? We've never taken the time to understand our French counterparts. And the reason why I draw attention to this is because all of that is changing now. And for the old folks who think, oh, we want to build a legacy for the young people, I want to ask you the question. Have you taken into consideration the trends in the nation? What is going on with the young people? Most of your intelligent and smart people, from filmmakers to musicians, they are integrating in the French side. They are singing in both French, English, and Pidgin. Most of your thinkers. So what kind of nation are you building? And at the end of the day, even if you have your independence, they will not stand with the structures that you're erecting. So why are you wasting your time? Why? If you're building for us and at the end of the day, we will not stand with this structure because no one wants to live under this kind of tyranny. We are scared of you guys more than we are scared of French-speaking Cameroonians because, I mean, like, This kind of courage, without logic, without structure, without understanding, without, it's too much. You guys, the way you came off this is too much. A lot of the things that you guys have been hiding, you've just portrayed it, is too much. The bitterness in your heart cannot build anything that will last. And it's time for you guys to reflect. I started this conversation by saying that wise people learn from the mistakes of others and they are happy. Smart people learn from their own mistakes and they are sad. And then the third category of people are those who neither learn from their mistakes or the mistakes of others, and they are fools. The reason why I said that is so that you guys can have perspective, analyze, and evaluate your journey leading to where you find yourselves today. And you guys should not think you've invented anything new in this whole struggle, because what you guys have done is just amplify what you had in your mind from inception. It's nothing new. You just picked up an idea from Gonji Dinka. That is the idea. You guys just went out there and tried to illustrate it. That's it. You hijacked the teachers and the lawyers marching, and then now you proclaim independence. It's so premature. But I just want to let you guys know, don't think you're a genius. You've done something so smart and creative that we should cheer you up. And I want to let you guys know, and I'm repeating this again, I have a blueprint that we can get this independence. Really fast. But I'm not going to engage in this kind of thing. And you guys got to learn to respect your young people. Know that the dispensation that they find themselves. And I just want to throw this out there. There are 100 people today in this world, 100 people, just in the tech space, that can control the whole universe today. And some of you are fighting territory. Territory is very limiting today. Anyone who is fighting for territorial integrity, look at you guys. See the nations where you find yourselves. You own houses in that nation. You own businesses in those nations. What do you mean by territorial integrity? Do you understand what is happening? It's very vague. It's too limiting. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some of you own businesses and houses in these nations where you find yourselves. If those people had their territorial integrity, where would you be? Are we reasoning now? If the social media space that has brought more people together than you can ever think about, if there was territorial integrity in this ecosystem, where would you guys be? That is where the world is going to. And if you cannot grasp the trend and see where the world is going to, you'll be left behind. You'll be fighting for territory in 2024, thinking that you're living in 1960. No. This is 2024. The world works differently. And that is why you've knocked all these doors of these nations, these great nations. And they're like, man, we can't deal with this. It is too premature. It is too premature to be talking about territorial integrity. I can go to any nation on earth, buy a piece of land, start a business, and do anything, anywhere in the world. Some people think like, oh, you're building on illegality. What do you mean by that? You're living in another person's nation. You own a house there. You own a business there. What do you mean by territorial integrity? People can legally come in there, buy a piece of land, and own the territory. People can come in there, privatize your companies, and own the territory. People can come in there and hire your own people, and they own the territory. And I want you guys to be realistic with this, because this is what you have not taken into consideration, the dispensation that we are living in. If you took into consideration the dispensation that we are living in, you understand that this archaic, outdated idea coming from 1960s will not work in 2024. This is a different era. We see the world differently, and that is why we are forging a compelling path. We need a lot of people on this mission. French-speaking Cameroonians are even small. We need more people. The kind of mission that we want to embark on is too huge. To be talking about just 8 million people from the English-speaking zone and we are looking at territory is too limiting. Stretch your thinking. I bet you if you see where we are going, you will not want one person on that territory to die. You won't want any soul to be lost. I don't care what language you're speaking. Come on board. We are going somewhere. I don't care your background. Just come on board. We are going somewhere. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? That is what we are on. I don't want anybody to die. I don't want anybody to perish. There will be enough for everybody. Learn from Nelson Mandela. Forgive and let go. Unite and build. Learn from Martin Luther King Jr. Black and white will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Together, let's go. United we stand, divided we fall. We have a huge problem. Tribalism is eating us up. We haven't even talked about that. We are trying to divide the nation. The reason why I'm putting out this message is so that we can think, young people, and be different, act different. All the nations they are citing, they are just broke nations that none of you would want to go get a visa and travel to those nations. They will cite Cuba. They will cite Eritrea. They will cite South Sudan. And I want to ask you a question. How many of you have thought of going to obtain a visa to go live in Cuba, in South Sudan, or Eritrea? This kind of people that you draw inspiration from, they were like, oh no, it's just no, it's not inspiration. The people that you copy, you will become them. There's a saying that you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, because their ideas is going to create the kind of life that you see them living. Their ideas will create that kind of life for you. And that is why my entire concept is based on great nations across the world. If your example doesn't reflect America, doesn't reflect China, doesn't reflect Britain, doesn't reflect the greatest nations on earth, I am not for it. I don't care what idea, no matter how good that idea is. If it's coming from a nation that I don't desire to be like, I will never pay or go get a visa to go live in that nation, I'm not going to buy that idea. And young people, if they cite any of those nations, and I want to let you know, they cannot think within the framework of developed nations because it's too complex for them to grasp. They cannot think within the framework of developed nations because at the end of the day, if they think within the framework of developed nations, they will end up with unity. They will see no need for fighting. They will want to unite the nation. They want to stop this. And that is exactly what these developed nations have told them. Go back and fix that problem. And what they have just done is given them the responsibility because we've always been babies. Oh, the UN is to be blamed. Oh, the British is to be blamed. Oh, they don't blame themselves. They blame everybody else. And the reason why the UN and the United States of America, they said go fix that problem is so we black people can be mature and grow up and stop crying and blaming people all the time. Go handle it yourself so that at the end of the day, you take responsibility for your actions. If we come in right now, very soon you will blame us. They've started blaming each other right now. You go on social media, these leaders are blaming each other. At the end of the day, they will leave this baggage on us. When they leave this baggage for us, the next thing is we will rise up and say, oh, it was the mistake of this leader. It was the mistake of this leader. And that is the same song we will be singing. And that's why we are standing up today to say no to this. We will fix it. We are going to be united. We will carve a compelling future for our nation. We are not going to end up singing the same song. And that's why I break down this history for you to understand. The Tripartite Conference were held in May in Boya. Tripartite Conference was held in Yaoundé, where Foncha was given a proposed constitution. And not only that, there was another Tripartite Conference in Boya in June. There was the Bamenda All-Party Conference that was held in Bamenda. Foncha never presented this proposed constitution, and that is why we were screwed up. After that, there was the Fumban Constitutional Conference. The Fumban Constitutional Conference, the people were shocked to even see that there was a proposed constitution, and Foncha never disclosed this to them. Failed leadership. Moving from there, there was another Tripartite Conference in August in Yaoundé, and Foncha went in there and agreed to the terms of the final draft of this constitution. British took a copy of it in English and spread some of the copies around, and they said, we are done. October 1st, we had independence. Blame yourself. Take the responsibility. Don't just run after money. Cultivate leaders. Start by being one. And that is why I cannot work with anyone who is not upright. If you're not upright, you cannot work with me. You cannot be someone that is caught up with alcohol. If you're being manipulated by alcohol, you cannot work with me. And I want to make this very straight. If people can use women to manipulate you with, you cannot work with me. It's going to be hard for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you can be bribed, if they can use women to manipulate you, if they can use alcohol to manipulate you, if they can use food to manipulate you, you cannot work with me. Anyone that can be confused using these 4 things I've mentioned, it will be tough for you to succeed in life. And this is a challenge that you have to put upon yourself. I don't know what they use to confuse these people. I don't know why you will not prepare or propose or present a proposed constitution for your people to have a conversation in a union that is this complex that you're getting into. And then at the end of the day, we want to turn around and blame everybody else. That is failure. Timing is everything. Timing. We got to understand this even within our culture, that timing is everything. If you're given this time frame, make sure that you do everything within that time frame to make sure that you have the best side of the deal, or you negotiate in the best way. That is exactly what we should learn from this history, not trying to rewrite it. Anyone that has gone back to rewrite history end up with hurt, pain, anger, bitterness, and they lose their moral conscience. And that's at the end of the day, because you got to sell your conscience to even think that, oh, go kill people. You got to sell your conscience. You got to justify what you are doing by thinking that what you're doing is right. But I'm saying anybody that's going to rewrite a past when they were not present, you're not the one who signed that document. You were not present there. Whatever thing you're saying today is based on the version of that history that you have gotten. We haven't heard from the French side. Everything is coming from your mouth. Your parents, some of them will lie to you, and you got to sit there and think they are all that holy. No, they are not. I want to hear from the other side before I fight. I want every young person on the ground to tell your leaders, I want you guys to initiate a dialogue. Find every way possible to initiate a dialogue without one person dying. They cannot do that because the brain is stuck. In 1960, the only way is violence, and that is the only way they can achieve their goals. Initiate dialogue and have the French people share their own side of the story, and then we can continue fighting. That is challenge you're giving them. They have to exercise their leadership strength, their leadership capabilities. It is easy to just say, pick up a gun. It's easy to do that. And that is why President Trump was saying, my strategy is different. I'm a businessman. I approach problems different. If I am elected president, I did it. You saw how I negotiated the issue with North Korea. I put this guy on the table and like, oh, let's have a conversation. And there was peace. And he said, if you put me to power, you make me become president, I'm going to solve this beef between Ukraine and Russia. Because I know these two guys, I'll sit them down. I don't want anybody to die, and I'll squash this problem. And that is a leader. That is leadership. You cannot make this. You cannot just wake up one morning and think you are competent and you can do this. It takes training. It takes practice. It takes education. It takes a different state of mind to operate at that level as a leader. You think that I don't feel hurt that our people are dying? I do feel the pain. Do you think I was happy growing up in a nation where I see young people struggling the way we are struggling? I do feel the pain. But is this the solution? No! This is not the solution. This strategy you're using is not effective. And it will start from you guys telling the truth about your history, the truth about failed leadership. If you guys claim that you had a system already, proud to join in the French, and it was an effective system and you guys were cool, why would you have this kind of leader that cannot show you a document so that you guys can study together? That is where we should stay. We don't have to move from this particular point. We stay right here. Why did our leader not present this document? That's where we should stay. It's not about like, oh, why did the French do this? Why did they violate it? You cannot use a proposed constitution to be a constitution that you base your argument on. Do you understand what I'm saying? If we are coming into a union, you bring your points, I bring my points, we look at it together. You cannot take the points that you bring in to be the final constitution. That was what you thought. This was what they thought. And at the end of the day, they did not hear you opposing what they thought. And so they had the upper hand because they were competent to lead themselves and they were leading that union. Remember that. This is the reality that we got to accept. And then from there, we will build better. If we accept this, we will build better. If we accept where we fell short, we will build better. We will correct ourselves. We will do better in the future. But if we refuse this, we'll always go around thinking we are righteous, we are good, and keep making the same mistakes. And that is why from 2016 to now, we have not had, leadership that can even speak in one voice. And tomorrow we blame everyone else. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, young people, you will need courage to create this future. You will need courage to create the kind of future that we want to see for ourselves. You need strategy. You need to be just. You need to be fearless. to create this compelling future for our nation. And that is where we are going with this. In the next 20 years, Cameroon can be like Canada. And we will cooperatively work together. Understand things from the French perspective, from the French-speaking Cameroonians' perspective. Start reasoning from their perspective, not from our perspective. This strategy is very limiting and you will always fail. When you come on the table and you always want to think from your perspective, it's all about your interests, you will always fail. Let's start thinking from the French people's perspective. That is a new approach. 20 years vision, we want this nation to be like Canada. How do we go about it? This is what I have. This is what I think. This is the strategies I have. What do you have and what do you think? We need to have abundance in this nation. We need to be super wealthy. We need to have industries. We need to have everything that we need to be a first world nation right here. We will not get stuck with a GDP of 45 billion. We need to move this thing to $1 trillion. How do we do it? That is the conversation I want us to start having now. And everyone watching me, this is what I want you guys to be responding in the comment section. We start asking questions and start brainstorming. How do we create great leaders? Great leaders that go abroad, negotiate and come back with a better deal for our people. And not just go there, fold your arms and listen to what is being said and come back and we have a bad deal and our nation is struggling. How do we do that? This is the kind of question. You cannot answer this with one simple statement. It got to get you to think. You have to think. Independent thinking, critical thinking. Because my goal is to spark your brain so that you're able to initiate that change and be creative. I don't know what you have. Some of you are engineers. Some of you are IT gurus. Some of you are smart individuals. Some of you are good with agriculture. Some of you are good with technology. Some of you are good in the pharmaceutical industry. Whatever that is, this is the time for you guys to start brainstorming. And my question to you is, what do we do to move this nation to becoming a first world nation? Because inaction will take us nowhere. Not taking action will not create the kind of future that you want to see. But taking action every day, baby steps. Small things make big difference. Every day we start taking the action that will lead us there. We want to have good schools. How do we make that happen? Americans rose up and built their nation. Entrepreneurs rose up and built this nation. They did not depend on the government. How can we make this happen in Cameroon? This is inspiration because this is a new trend of thought. We've never heard this. All we've known is jobs, government jobs, get the certificate, go get a job. And we are challenging that in this dispensation because we've traveled and seen what actually works. The systems that have been erected through businesses has shaped the character of the people of this nation. Understanding that you show up early because this big vision needs to be achieved. And that is what I bring. And I just want to ask you guys a question. How do we get there? How do you engage your French-speaking brothers so that we can together unanimously get there? You were created to be a leader. You were created to be a leader in an area of your giftings, not to boss and control and subdue people. You were created to lead. Some of you were created to make beautiful chairs. You were created to become soccer players. You were created to become engineers. You were created to operate in the field of artificial intelligence. You were created with some gift. And this is the time for you to activate that gift and build that nation. When you travel abroad, we say, no, this is not just about bush falling and making money. No, we want to be able to learn something in IT. We have to be able to learn something in engineering so that together we come back and create that nation. It doesn't matter if you sleep on the floor and go to school and study, put something in your head. It's not all about falling bush, make money, go back home, buy a car and build a house and prove to everybody else that you've made it. No, this is intentional living. This is purpose living. This is living on purpose. We want to move this nation forward. It's not just about me, it's about we. It's not about I, it's about the nation. Nationalism, the love for our nation, we want to see it different. Bro, you in France, what have you learned? Bring it on the table. Oh, you're in Europe, what have you learned? Bring it on the table. Oh, you're from America, what have you learned? Bring it on the table. You're in China, what have you learned from Chinese people? Bring it on the table. Let's unanimously shape this nation and prove to the world that our own version of Canada succeeded in Cameroon. We did it. That is where we are going with this. All this small talk and mediocre thinking and myopic ways of looking at things, we are setting this on the side and looking at the big picture. Let's make it work. Let's move the nation forward. We were created for this. We were not born to just watch everybody else succeed and we think this is our limited existence. We have more to offer in the world. Black people can be something, and that is the challenge that we are posing on ourselves in this dispensation, that we will challenge the status quo. What works for the white man can work for the black man. The same success that the white man is experiencing, we can experience that. We are breaking that mold of limitation. We are thinking out of this confined box that we have been locked in. We are not just spectators. We are here to initiate change and cooperate with the best nations around the world. Slavery and slave trade is stories of the past. We are not going to put it on our forehead and let it limit us from growing and enjoying this beautiful life and partnering with other people. We are not going to be caught up in that box. It happened some 100 years ago. We were not there. We will deal with the world like we see it right now. We're not dealing with 1961. We're not dealing with colonialism. We're not dealing with slavery and slave trade. People who carry this baggage and go around life, they're always sad. They're always gloomy. They always have this kind of disgust in their heart and they cannot excel. We are not going to deal with it. Let it go. That is the future that we are building for ourselves. That is the nation that we are creating. That is the Cameroon that I see. That is the evolution that is taking place. This is the hope for our destiny. This is where we are going as a people. Together we are getting there. We are building a nation that tomorrow we will look at and say we left something for our children. These people that have had bitterness for their whole life, what have they created for us that you want to follow in their tracks? Young people, what did they leave for you? Pain, bitterness, and stories that happened in 1960. Today, we want to leave a legacy for our children. We want to leave for them a community where they will grow up and have everything that they need to succeed in life. We want to leave this world with enough money and life money, even in life insurance, that our children can be able to live off. We are challenging the status quo. We are creating a compelling future. We are building things. In this generation, we will do it. We are a different breed of people. We live with hope. We live with optimism. We believe that our best days are ahead of us. We will not be stuck in a war for 20, 30, 40 years. Who does that in 2024? When you can think creatively and create jobs and build businesses and build companies. Who has to be wallowing in this kind of pain in this dispensation when there is enormous potentials, abundance, and we are stuck and confined in a territory and we want to keep fighting with den guns? This is madness. In this generation, no. I won't sit down and watch this happen. And I want to let you know, you don't have to sit down and watch this happen. Young people, you don't have to, you have to. I want to let you guys know, the power these people have is the power you give them. When you watch their channels, you watch their videos, you give them the power. When they give you orders, you go illustrate or go take action on those orders, you are giving them power. If you stop taking instructions from them, you stop watching their videos, this power that you've given them is going to fade away. And that is how you limit negative thinking and all of these oppressive ideas in the past that has led us nowhere. The previous generation with Foncha left this baggage for them. Guess what they're about to do? They're about to make it worse and leave it to us. And we are going to struggle with it. The cycle continue. So what I'm doing is interrupting this pattern, interrupting I'm interrupting this way of thinking. I'm interrupting this pattern. I'm interrupting it and saying, hey, stop. Tell me, what are you up to? What are you leading us into? When will this stop? How long do you have to continue doing what you're doing? And when will you succeed? You're like, oh no, we go for 30 years. Really? We will go on for 30 years? Are you serious? If you went to school and they told you that you have to be there for 30 years, would you be in school? You would say, no, there is a start time and an end time. They will tell you this program is 4 years, you get a degree. Or this program is 3 years, you get a degree. This program is 2 years, you get a master's degree. This program is 2 years and you get a doctorate degree. They give you a time frame. And because of that, you know that very soon I'll be done with this so I can live my life. These are people dying and you say there's no time frame and you are not on the ground fighting. This madness has to stop. Like ASAP, it has to stop. We should have a time frame. What is your strategy? Can you show us? How do we know if you win? Can you show us? When people are presenting their business plan, they show you their strengths, they show you their weaknesses, they show you their capabilities, they show you how much money that they are raising or that they will raise. They will show you how long it will take for them to raise that money, how long it will take for that business to start producing profit. The investors need to see it. They need to know exactly what they are investing into. These people have no time frame. They say just keep fighting. You see this kind of story, you tell me, invest in this kind of business, come to this kind of school, follow this kind of initiative. I'll just tell you goodbye, keep trying and doing you. I'll see you later. We should be able to have a time frame. With this technology that we have around the world today, with all of this technological advancement, you tell me let's stay in a loop for 30 years in this generation. And I've said, if you guys believe in power, you believe in strength, you believe it's all about flexing muscle, I've said, you guys put up a fight with me. You put up a fight with me and then you come. Let's try it because I'm ready. In any way that you want to come with this, I'm ready. If you want physical, let's go. You want intellectual, let's go. You want strategies, let's go. I'm ready in every way possible. And you guys have not even tried to even put up to tell me let's do it. If you want to debate with me, we'll sit down and I'll disprove every idea that you have in your head. I'll show how weak and myopic and why it will not work in front of the entire English-speaking Cameroon. I will disprove each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. I'll show you how flawed your thinking is and why it will not work. And stop wasting young people's time. Stop wasting people's time. These ideas will not work. I will prove to each and every one of you why your ideas will not work because I've studied your thinking, the origin, your strategies, what you're doing, and I understand exactly why it will not work. Your strategies are flawed, and I will show you why it will not work and why you should stop wasting your time. Do something else so your life can have meaning in this world. This one, nah. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, young people get engaged. We will be having a conference on the 31st of January, a couple of days from now. It's a vision conference, all Cameroon vision conference. I encourage everyone, especially Cameroonians under the age of 40, register for that conference. It's going to be transformative. If you've never had a vision for your life or vision for your nation or vision for the future, be part of this conference. It's going to change your mind. It's free. I'm not charging you anything. This is a conference that you probably pay approximately maybe $200 or maybe $500 or $1,000 to attend. I'm giving you for free. Spark your thinking and take you from where you are and help you to start thinking exponentially. Because guys, you can never get where you haven't seen yourself. I want to be able to spark your brains to think in a dimension that you can see yourself somewhere better than where you find yourself. Because that will give you hope, it will give you passion, it will give you direction, encouragement, confidence, and make you fearless to face the future. It is possible for you to live a good life. It's possible for you to be kings, to be queens. It's possible for you to live your dreams. Marcus Aurelius is a famous philosopher king. He was able to prove that you can have money and be just. You can have money and live a good life. You can be wealthy. You can be smart. You can have it all together. Because they'll tell you you cannot have one without the other. You can have every good thing in life. And this philosopher king, Marcus Aurelius, he lived a very stoic life. And that's what we see when we think about stoicism. You see individuals that are able to live their full potential on earth. And yet they are decent, they have character, they love, they believe in people. These are individuals that I draw inspiration from. I encourage you to read his book, The Meditation. Great individual and understand that it's possible. All this mediocre thinking, mediocre living, you got to live for something. You got to be something. You got to do something with your life. You got to believe that you were created and put in this world to do something big. And that is what this vision conference will do for you. I want to spark your thinking, hack the negative self-talk and all of this self-sabotage believing that you come from this broke home and so you'll never be something. You can come from nothing and be something. And you can do it in Cameroon. This entire history, at the end of the day, people will say, oh, but what does it matter? It's important that you know the history, but for me, I don't think it's really necessary that you get clouded in 1961. Understand and read the history for fun and enjoy it. Go out there and have fun. The future is there. Live it. Enjoy it. Deal with life every day as it comes. If you try something and it doesn't work, don't get caught up. This is a life of detachment. Don't be attached to things. Because it's going to ruin you. It's going to make you feel like, oh, you're a loser. You don't have to be attached to anything. And that includes this battle. If you lose and you feel like you're not making progress, detach yourself. Don't be too attached. This is the life of detaching. Detach yourself from circumstances, from event. Because there are some things you have no control over. And that is what Marcus Aurelius is teaching us. There are circumstances and situations that you have no control over. You have no control over your birth. You did not choose to be born. You have no control over that. You will not choose to be born in Cameroon. You have no control over that. And that alone should show you that there are some things in this life that you have no control over, and you have to accept that. You cannot control the weather. And that is why in his book, The Meditations, he's actually helping us to think critically, because you can only get to this level of thinking if you have developed or cultivated the habit to think for yourself. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control if the rain will fall today or the sun will shine. You have no control over that. People will tell you that they can control everything. Good luck with that. And this is where you start detaching yourself from circumstances and events and historical events. And he said you can't control all these things. You cannot control people's actions. I designed this video and I'm uploading it on YouTube, hoping that it sparks your spirit, illuminates your soul so that you can be something. But I have no control over that. The only person that you have control over is you. You have control over your actions. You have control over your thinking. You have control over how you respond to circumstances. That is very, very important. Circumstances happen to everybody, but your response is subjective, and how you respond towards a situation is going to determine the outcome. And he's saying you got no control over everything. You think you do? No, you got control over yourself. That's why what you say, what you do, your feelings, and how you look at the world does matter. Why? Because you have control over yourself. How would the world look like if we started believing this way? Start understanding that we really have control over ourselves. I have no control over 1961. Do you understand? You're trying to get me to create something that I was not even part of. Or to amend something that I wasn't part of. And we've had all these thousands of people die. There are some things we have no control over. I cannot control the military of Cameroon. That is something I have no control over. Thinking that I can make that happen is an illusion. But there are some things that I do have control over. I can influence the mind of the young people to create a compelling community that can help them advance their destiny. I do have control over what I can say to help you think in that capacity to create that destiny or to create that future. I have control. Why? Because I can study. Why? Because I have lived what I'm saying. Why? Because I understand the human psychology. Why? Because I understand human evolution. I understand how people behave. I do have control over my studies. I have control over what I say. I have control over my actions. I have control as to how I respond to circumstances. That is why I bring you hope. That is why I bring you good news. That's why I let you know that you don't have to die. This idea of fighting about things in the past is outdated. I have control over this. You have control to receive this message and act on it, or choose to follow people who think that they will create a utopia for you. This is a choice you have to make. And the greatest thinkers, stoic thinkers, apostolic philosophers, people who changed the world. And these are the individuals I draw inspiration, and this is what governs my life. Guys, before you came here, there were people that lived. And after you die, there will be some people that will come after you. Take it easy. Live life one day at a time. Anything that is beyond your control, let it go. The things you do have control, make sure that you do your best. If you take drugs and it messed up your system, you have control to stop taking those drugs so you stay healthy. You have control. If you're cheating on your wife, you have control to stop that because you are part of that and you engaged in that. You can stop it. If you've been manipulated by food, you can fast. Fast at least for 7 days. I do that at the beginning of every year so that I can keep my spirit clean. And I just want to let you know, you can fast against food. Why? So that you will not be manipulated by food or thinking people call you, go have food. If some of you, you're caught up with alcohol, you can fast from alcohol and slowly you can detach yourself from the spirit of alcohol. You'll be an upright human being if you're able to stay away from these vices. It will make you to start thinking critically, say what you mean, and people will not manipulate you. No matter what they say, they will not bribe you, they will not manipulate you, they will not try to take you to a direction that you don't want to go. And that is exactly what I want the young people in this dispensation to be. You have control over these things. And one thing you look at Marcus Aurelius is how gentle he was. Even after having everything, having money, he was a king. He could have any woman that he wanted. But yet, he restrained himself. He could have any amount of money that he wants, but yet he restrained himself. He could indulge himself in pleasure forever. His entire existence, if he wanted to be involved in all this debauchery, he would have, but he restrained himself. And he was an upright man. And these are individuals that changed the world, that challenged the status quo, that proved to everybody that came even before him that it's possible for you to be an upright human being. And when we do that, we'll have a community of people that love one another, trust one another, looking out for the interests of one another. You say something, you do it. When we build that kind of community, there's nothing that can stop us. It will change that nation. It will change Africa. It will change the continent. It will change the world. That's what we're going for. Nothing less. Nah. The foundation that we are laying, nah. The next group of people that will build on what we are laying, nah. We are going to do it. I'm telling you, the foundation that we are laying right now in Cameroon is going to spread across Africa. And the next group of people that will rise up on this foundation, there will be a different breed of human being. We will copy the good things from the West and the vices will say no. We'll copy the good things from China and the vices will say no. We'll copy the good things from Europe and the vices will say no. We will lay a foundation that will be unstoppable. And our young people will build from that and transform the world. Because the purpose we are here in this world is to make this world better. It's not about color of your skin. Don't let this thing fool you. Look at the person's heart, look at their spirit, look at their soul, look at what they bring on the table. That is what is important. To hell with all of these colors, to hell with all of these languages that we speak. If Alexander the Great lived for 30 more years, the entire world will be speaking Greek. I'm telling you. If Alexander the Great lived for 30 more years, the entire world would have been speaking Greek today. So don't be caught up with language. Don't be caught up with all of these small differences that we see among each other. We are the human race. We are here to move the world forward. You got to believe this every day of your life. Every day that I'm here to add value in this world, I'm a human being. I'm not defined by the past. I'm not defined by my experiences. I'm not defined by my cultural heritage. I'm not defined by slavery and slave trade. I'm not defined by colonialism. I'm not defined by 1961. I am defined by who I am in this dispensation to initiate change. And I refuse to be caged in the box of your ideologies. I refuse to be caged in the box of your limited thinking. You understand what I'm saying? That is what you have to start saying and believing, young people in this generation. I cannot stand this kind of thinking. I'm telling you, this is crazy. I can't stand this kind of thinking. I cannot talk with people that think like this is insane. This is below my pay grade. I cannot deal with this. Detach. It's a wall of detaching. Don't be controlled by circumstances. You bounce around, I'm going to fold my arms and watch you. I'm not controlled by circumstances. I'm not controlled by events. That is why I look at the big picture. I'm not reacting. I'm responding. That's the difference. People who are reactive, they go around. I mean, like every little thing you blink. I'm not here to react. I'm here to respond. That's the difference. You are not created to be reacting to circumstances. A reactive life is a limiting life. Oh, look at the economy of Cameroon is going down. Where have you ever seen a country goes down and goes bankrupt? From the time you were born to this age, which nation have you seen collapsed? And you are preaching economic sabotage as a strategy to persuade people to believe that the French-speaking Cameroonians are going to go down, and you believe in this kind of idea. Where have you seen a nation goes down and is completely bankrupt? And you believe this? I cannot talk with people that think like this. I respect you, but dude, nah. I just have pity for the people who go and watch this. You watch it and you believe it. It's insane. People can sell anything and people buy it. That is why critical thinking, you thinking for yourself, will make you a dangerous person. Because you will make the right decision. You not just follow the herd. So, my people, we can do this. We can do this. It's time to take action. It's time to live intentionally. This year, 2024, should not end without us stopping this wall and start building that nation. Because that is my mission. To quench all of this thinking, not just the war, this kind of thinking should end. And let's start building. I've showed you from that graph, the barbarians to bureaucrat. You've seen it. From the barbarians to the builders and explorers to the administrators. I've shown you that graph. From the prophet to the barbarian to the builder explorer, right up to the administrator. I've shown you that graph to show you the human evolution of 21 civilization. And I just want to let you guys know, I want to let you know that it's time for us to start building. Keep this small thinking on the ground. Stop this thinking, not just the wall. Let the thinking be buried. Let's initiate building. Let's get involved in building. Let the people with those ideas go fight for themselves. Go fight for the war that they believe in. Let them go do it for 20, 30, 40 years. Let them go do it. With all the Cuba and Eritrea and South Sudan, all the nations that they call you don't want to get a visa to go live in those nations. And yet you want to listen to them talk. Show me an example that you're following from a nation that is developed that we aspire to travel to. None. There are people who started this in America in the 18th century. There are people who started this kind of movement and they went nowhere. They were crushed really fast and they went nowhere with this kind of ideas. Because any idea that is about division, it's about the past, goes nowhere. Nowhere. Even if you succeed, you'll be left alone. And people that you've crushed like this, that you've nibbled them, that you've inflicted pain on them, will never ever forgive you, even if it was a righteous cause. I'm repeating this. People that you crushed them, the number of people that have died, people will never forgive you even if you were fighting for their own interests. I'm telling you, they will not be happy at the end of the day. You guys better stop this and start doing what is necessary to build our nation. If you change your mind and really repent, we will forgive you. But if you continue, history will not smile at you. I repeat, if you guys repent right now and stop this madness, we will forgive you. But if you continue going the way you're going, history will not smile at you. We will never be happy with you. Even if you're fighting a just cause, if you crush people in this manner, they will turn against you and they will never forgive you and they will not be happy with you. It is historically proven. These are not just words coming out of my mouth, they are well researched. Don't live in your own small bubble and listen to yourselves. This small echo chamber. You just talk to yourselves, understand yourselves, hear yourselves, and listen to nothing else out there. This is what makes our organization or our country or our own part of the world slow to growth, slow to progress. Why? Because we do not just hear something good and implement it immediately. We have to be crushed. We have to take all these years before we start taking action that will bring real transformation. That is why Africa is backward. That is why our countries are backwards, because we come abroad, we see what works. It takes us time to implement it. Some of us come back and we want to keep promoting ideas that hold us back. We are slow to implement change. But this generation, we are changing this. We will hear something good and act on it immediately. This is the generation of people that we are raising. That will be quick to listen and slow to speak. Quick to listen. Not stuck. That's what the Bible says. Not get stuck in your own ideas, but you're quick to listen to what will change your life. Quick to listen to an idea that can transform your destiny. Quick to listen that you should stop doing what you're doing because it will not work. Quick to listen and slow to speak. The Bible says that for a reason. And some of you come out and you think that, oh, it's about you, it's about your wealth. I mean, I want to let you guys know the greatest thing that Solomon went before God and asked for was wisdom. Solomon never asked God for things. He never asked God for money. He asked for wisdom. And God said, because you've asked wisdom, I'll bless you with power and fame and everything else. And I want to let you know, my time here in America, that was what I asked God for. I said, God, bless me with the mindset that created this nation. Bless me, God, with the wisdom that enabled these people to build their nation. That is what I've been seeking for. The mindset that created these things, not the things. That is what the Bible means by seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Solomon went to God for wisdom, the kingdom, and God added everything to him. And I'm empowering young people today, when you go before God, when you travel abroad, seek the knowledge that built that nation where you find yourself. Seek for the strategies and the principles, the philosophies, the ideas that made that nation great, that made you desire to go there. Seek that knowledge and not seek the things. Because you have the things, but if you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the mindset that created the things that you like about that nation, at the end of the day, those things will fade away. You have it, but you will not know what to do with it. But if you seek the knowledge and the wisdom of what made that nation great, you'll be able to go back home there and bring change. And that is exactly what I seek in America. I seek the mindset. I seek the thinking, the philosophies, the belief systems, the syntax, the physiology, the language, the belief system of the people that initiated this change, so that when I go back, my people can be different. So that when I go back, my people too can ride in private cars. They can have private jets. They can build schools. They can build companies. They can build businesses. I can be able to show them the model. Why? Because I stayed in the area where the knowledge that built this nation resides. Not just the job and the little paycheck. This is a lie. There's a mindset that built this nation. That's why you travel around America. You don't see the people dressing, looking all fancy, but they have something in their head. You don't see them fighting to drive the most fancy car, but they have something in their head. That's why you see people like Steve Jobs sit in their own garage and build a company like Apple. We've heard these stories numerous times because why? It is about what was in their head. They could stay in their own small garage. They just need a little space to think and they will create something. You can have a massive mansion, but if you don't have anything in your head, you have to only keep paying bills to maintain that mansion. I prefer to live in a small space, have the mindset, because when you start creating, you will have that conglomerate. You will not even value the mansion or the cars or the jets. Why? Because you invested in your brain. And even if all those things go away, you can recreate them. Even if I get back to square one today, I will bounce back. Why? Because I invested in me. I invested in my head. I invested in wisdom. Are you guys understanding? I'm not worried about things. And that is what I want the young people in this generation to grasp. You see your leaders, whatever thing they are saying, the greatest strength for them executing their mission is based on resources on the ground given by God and not something they can create out of their intellect. That is the difference. But what I'm bringing to you, with or without resources, we will create them. People are the greatest resource. Human beings are the greatest resource. That is why I don't want any to die. I'm just scared of who will die because I don't know what they carry in them. They might be engineers. They might be the brain behind some of the projects that we'll execute. They might be the people that end up creating some amazing companies. You understand what I'm saying? That is why I don't want anyone to die. I value people. Change your minds. Stop this idea. Reject this kind of thinking. Pick up an idea. Believe in yourself and be able to cooperate with those who are going somewhere. I've said, just be watching those around you. You will grasp some inspiration that will enable you to build something for yourself. Do not die. Do not join some kind of movements that is just going to limit your existence. Do not do that. Preserve your life. Life is too beautiful to die early. There's a lot for you to enjoy in this world to die early. There is a legacy you have to leave. There is a business that you have to start. There are children that you have to raise. There's a wife that you have to love. There's a father that hopes that they grow old and see you alive and you get to bury them. That is the order. Not children dying before their parents, but parents dying before their children. When you go lose your life and your parents are left behind, what are you doing? It is an honor for your parents to be alive and watch you grow. And this is my message for the young people. Think differently. Learn how to formulate your own thoughts. Pick that same history that they have been talking about and look at the documents, look at the events, look at what actually happened. This is what I just did with you today. I went and I looked at the history and I looked at the documents. And I'm like, okay, you guys accepted to join. When you accept to join, that is enough, right? You accepted to join. Now the terms of joining is something different. You were given ample time, more than 7 months, to deliberate on how you join. If your leader did not do anything about it, no one is to be blamed but that leader. We have to take responsibility. It's that simple. That's how you look at the case. That's how you analyze the case. And then you're like, okay, the United States and the Britain and all of that, they did what they ought to do, but you were given ample time and you did not do anything. Take responsibility. What do we have now? Cameroon. Let's deal with it. Let's build from here, moving forward. And stop all these arguments and all these conversations on what happened in 1961. Let's build. I love you guys so much. I'm praying for you. I hope this message gets into your heart. I hope this message penetrates your soul. I hope this message makes you think differently. I hope this message helps you to challenge the status quo. See life differently. Start believing that you have enormous potential and you should not die young. This message makes you to start thinking critically and start asking questions. When you question them, they will start calling you blackleg. When you question them, they will start calling you la republique. When you question them, they will say you are sold out. But this is what makes society work. When we rise up and question leaders like this, because it will spark your creativity. This is what makes great nations start building companies, because they ask questions about their surrounding, about events, about their economic situation. They ask all these questions, and because they ask those questions, they start finding answers. And as they start finding answers, they start building. If you will not question these leaders, you will not question anything that is going on, you are following the status quo. And guess what? Be the individual that they will label you like the public, but you ask the questions that will make you think for yourself. Let them say they have bribed you, but you will think for yourself. Let them say you've sold out. Yes, it will get you to think for yourself. You question everything. You start thinking for yourself. You start reasoning for yourself. It will push some of you guys to start reading books. It will push some of you guys to start going into archives and understanding what happened. It will make you to start thinking for yourself, saying, no, I should be building a business right now. I should be fighting to make sure that my children have something when I'm dead. You will start thinking differently. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. I'm pushing you into, I don't have to only read books when I'm preparing for an exam. I got to keep studying for my entire life. As long as I'm alive, I have to keep studying. Why? Because I need to expatiate my thinking and create a conducive economic environment where I can thrive. Yeah. Keep studying. If I don't understand anything, I will find a book that can give me clarity on that subject, and I will study it. It's not all about certification. When you're done with the certification, you start studying. At the end of that certification, your studies begins. Your education begins at the end of your certification, because it's improvement in that area of your gifting that is going to enable your promotion. And that will come through you studying continuously to improve your skills, to improve your knowledge, to expand your ability in that area of your study that will make you to become prosperous, to become the top earner in that industry. Question everything around you. Why are you poor? Ask questions. Ask questions. Why are we poor? Ask your father, ask your mother. Mom, why are we poor? Dad, why are we poor? Ask questions. Is this how your father was poor? Is this how your great-grandfather was poor? I want to know, because I want to break this generational curse. So I want to understand the lineage that I came from. Ask questions. Why are we poor? I see Mr. Sam is rich. I see Sally over there. They have a private car. Why don't we have one? Start asking those questions. It's not like you hate on your parents, but it will make you to start thinking, looking for the resources, the information that you need to change your own thinking so that you break that generational cycle. People don't understand these things, and they think, oh, maybe you are praying and someday God will appear from the sky and then everything will change. There's a magic button to press and you have riches. No, you start by asking questions. And as you ask questions, you find answers. And as you find answers, you will carve a compelling future. Why are we broke? Why don't we have money? Why don't we eat good food in this house? Why am I going to this school? Why not the other school? Because I see you got to ask all these questions. Some of the questions you ask will push your parents to work hard. Some of the questions you ask will push your parents to work hard. It will push you especially to work extremely hard to become who God created you to be. That is the kind of generation of people that I'm sparking up their brains to start thinking constructively, creatively. Ask questions. How do you know that this idea will work? Why do you choose this particular path? How long are we going to be on this path? I want to know so that I can plan. And how are you sure that on this path we are going to succeed? I want to know. You guys tell me. You understand what I'm saying? Jesus had a time frame, 3 years. At the age of 30, he started his project. 3 years, he was done and he's gone. There's a time frame. How long? When a project is not properly coordinated, when there is no good leader, when there is not a proper planning, they will tell you it's forever. It's like the events that we go to here in the West. What time is the party starting? We don't know. What time is it ending? We don't know. Till you feel tired and then you go home. Guys, nah. What is the start time and what is the end time? This project you guys want to take us on, how long will it take? How am I sure you win? How many people will die? Are you going to fight with us or you're going to stay abroad forever? After we are done fighting, are you just going to come back and become the boss over everybody? What is the plan? We want to know. When we start asking these questions, change will start. Ask questions. Ask. Some of you come under this post and you only want to, oh, they're paying you. This is very limiting. You're very limiting in your thinking. You should be ashamed to even type that. Think. You're given a brain. You're not an animal. That is what separates you from an animal, that you think, that you ask questions, that you reason, that you question authority, that you question proclaimed leaders. You ask them their strategies because lives are being lost. This is not something about a fight. This is people dying. This is a critical situation. What role did your leader play to put us in this predicament? Are you talking about that, and have you fixed that in your own life so that we can trust you that you will not lead us in the same predicament? You got to ask this question. You got to ask them. I know you would think they paid me, but answer the question. I know you would think I'm La Republic, but answer my questions. What role did you guys play to put us in this condition? I want to know. Why didn't we grow up having schools like everybody else? Why didn't we grow up playing soccer like everybody else? Why didn't we grow up having gyms where we could learn how to box and become the Francis Ngannou? Why didn't we have this ecosystem? Ask these questions. If they think they paid you, still ask them. Yes, I know you think they paid me. Answer my question. This is the way we change the world. This is the way we evolve and build and create things that people can use and change our conditions. Start with questions. It will take us into research. We will stay up all night researching, making sure that we find the answers to our problems and elevate ourselves from mental slavery. When you talk about slavery and slave trade, what role did you guys play to sell your own brothers? You've not talked about that. You only tell me about the white man coming here and taking us captive. What role did you play? There was a middleman in this business. You participated to sell your own brothers. You don't talk about that and you don't take responsibility. You got to ask them questions. This continent is dried up because of older folks that made bad decisions and they refused to take responsibilities. You participated to sell your own people. You guys are still selling one another today. And you turn around and tell me is the fault and ABC is to be blamed and you have no responsibility over this. And I just want to let you guys know, if there is no enemy inside, the enemy outside can do us no harm. The reason why we are where we are today, there was an enemy inside and we have to ask questions. It was not just the white man that showed up in the shores and carried our people abroad. You guys participated. Some chiefs were making a lot of money out of this trade. We got to ask questions. That is why I question the motives of the chiefs. Why do we have all these old institutions? These old institutions sold us out. They sold us as slaves. They made us to become slaves. We are where we are today because of their participation. They want us to just point at the white man and forget about what they did. And I see this happening in our society, in our communities today. If you're a black man and these parents that we respect come into the room and you're more competent than a young white folk, they will choose that young white folk over you. It is in their mind. And I will question them. Why did you come in here and did not feel that I was competent? Even though there is everything to prove that I'm more competent than this white folk. Why did you choose this white young folk over me? And I will ask that question. This is where change starts. It is going to be uncomfortable for them. But I want to let you know, when they start challenging these enemies that is within, we will build a compelling future. Our destinies will never be the same again. Why are you threatened by me, a young person rising up and building a business or trying to do something different? Why are you threatened? Why are you not happy for me? You got to ask them the question. Some of your older folks in the community, they are threatened by your success. They are threatened by your achievements. Question them. Confront the devil that is controlling this kind of spirit. Question it, because that is where change starts. Let this thing stop. Let's stop this nonsense. We are here for each other. There's enough to go around for everybody. Why are we living in this scarcity bubble? There's a lot to go around for everybody. There is more for us to achieve together than trying to fight and destroy one another. There is more for us to achieve when we unite. What is the problem? We just say it. Can we act it? Can we be that? Ask questions. Ask questions, people. Ask questions. This thing must change. Yeah, it must. And that is why God made me in this generation to rise up and spark the brains of our people, that we should ask all these questions. You were part, your great-grandparents were part of the slavery and slave trade deal. Today, they sit in front of their cameras and they talk about the white folks penetrating their hinterland, and they don't talk about any of their leaders participating in this trade. If we loved one another so much, it would be hard for a white man to penetrate us. If you look at a black man going down today, there was another black man that was behind that game to bring down a brother or to bring down a sister. This is fact. We got to challenge these demons and let them loose so that we can build. If not, the Africa that we are building is on a sinking sand, and someday one person will blow up another game and then everybody goes down. One day another person will open up another door for some evil practice and we will go down. We got to challenge these demons. It's a lie that black people will remain this way. I refuse to see that in my generation. We will be different. Black people are not cursed. We got to just challenge these demons, be disciplined, be honest, and love one another. We are blessed. I refuse to think that we were created to be this way. We too can be tech giants. He can be the one that create the next generation of entrepreneurs, the next generation of inventors, the next generation of AI experts. We can do that. Because the questions we are asking this generation has never been asked in the history of Africa. And because we are asking these questions, we'll find solution. And when we find solution, we will change our situation. I want to repeat, because we are the ones that are asking the questions that we are asking in this generation that has never been asked, it will push us into finding solution. And because we will find those solutions, we will change our situation. This is our time. This is our generation. We are the ones that have been called. We are the people that we have been waiting for. We are the people. The Savior is among us. Not coming from any sky. The Savior is here already. We are the Saviors. We are the Saviors. We are the people to save ourselves. And the Savior is among us. We need to just give them the microphone and let them preach the good news. And we act on that news. And the transformation will come. I love you guys so much. Praying for you. We are going somewhere together. It is your time to shine. It's your time to break free from any curse, any limitation of the past. It's your time. It's your time, people. Let's do it. All right, if you like this video, you're going to like this other episode, and you can watch it by clicking right here.